Welcome to the Uplifters podcast, where every week I get the big privilege of talking to women in midlife who are doing big, brave things to inspire all of us to keep doing bigger and braver things and proving to ourselves that it's not too late. Today, I have the great joy of talking to Susan Ruth, a filmmaker, songwriter, painter, and she hosts the Hey Human podcast. And that celebration of February and all this talk about love everywhere, we're going to talk about something that Susan and I share, which is human love. And humans right now in this weird AI moment where we have such a love affair with offloading so many of our decisions and so much of our capacity to digital tools and what it means to be a human now and in the future. So,
And
Susan,
our humanity. We're
and our
offloading our
humanity.
humanity.
Yeah. I'm so excited to talk to you about this as an artist, as a human, as a lover of humans. So, thanks for being here today, Susan.
Humans by nature are not solitary creatures. We don't survive solitarily. When we're born, we can't exist without someone taking care of us, right? And that lasts forever. And it's interesting because in dementia patients and people who are put in homes and maybe they don't get visited by family or friends or anything, they deteriorate quite rapidly. And there's a reason for that. We need connection.
We do. We do. Can we start by talking about the genesis of the Hey Human podcast?
Sure.
Just because I love that story so much.
Yeah, sure. It came because there had been two shootings at the time. Now, of course, there's mass shootings and shootings every single day in America, several times a day in some cases. At the time, maybe not yet as prevalent. 2016, there were two mass shootings back to back that rocked me hard. It rocked my faith in humanity. And it's funny because at the top of this, you said, we both love humans. And I got to say, I don't know that I can really say that unequivocally because I don't always love humans. In fact, I struggle with loving humans because they're so awful to each other. And so for me, I feel like in my life, I'm on a journey on not giving up, not turning my back on humans, not feeling like we've lost our way so completely. Right now, it's especially difficult to not feel that way. But back then, in 2016, there had been two mass shootings, devastating. And I was living in Nashville at the time. And I was incredibly distraught, really just crying my eyes out. And I called my dad because he's a touchstone for me and a grounding source for me. And I called him and I said, Dad, I just can't anymore with humans. I can't. I don't understand humans. Why are we so awful to each other? And he's a scientist. So the bottom line is he's always got a scientific response to that. He references one of his favorite books, The Selfish Gene. He says, well, in the selfish gene. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But let's take all that out of the equation. Spiritually, emotionally, intuitively, whatever it is, why are humans so horrendous to each other more and more and more? I had reached a tipping point. I couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with humanity. I've given up. And he said, you can't give up. And I know it hurts him when I'm in so much pain as a father and as a wise elder person, but he said, you can't give up. You have to look for the light. Through my horrendous snot-nosed face, I said, how? There's no light left. And he said, that's not true. And my father is traditionally a pessimist. So the fact that that was his response was really lovely of him because I was hurting so much. And I was on my way home and I needed to stop at the grocery store to get something to eat. So we hung up the phone and I pulled into the parking lot of the Kroger and fixed my face, which was now puffy and tear stained, and blew my nose several dozen times. I got out of the car and I was resigned to be done. And I didn't know what that meant or what it looked like, but it just felt like I was just done. And I walked into the grocery store and I made it a few feet when this elderly man, a black man, was walking toward me. And as I walked past him, he said, "Evening, sister." And the way the word sister hit me was so profound. And it broke me open, and I did everything I could to not burst into tears in that second. And I said, hello, and I kept walking, and I went and got my stuff and was in the checkout line, and he happened to be in front of me in the checkout line. I really wish I knew his name or where he was or if he's still around, because he was, he's elderly, but what a lovely man. And he turned to me and he looked at the things I had on the conveyor belt and he said, "Oh, what are we having for dinner?" And we chatted about our mutual love for sweet potatoes, and he went on his way, and I was doing my checkout, and I turned, and to my left was a father with two kids, and they were speaking in Spanish, and the father and the son forgot something. They went to get it, and they left behind the dad's small daughter. And she wasn't saying a word, but she looked up to me and smiled, and I smiled at her. But there was something, she didn't say a word. It was more like a beaming. She beamed at me, and it was so sweet and cute, and just she was adorable. And dad and son came back, and I paid for my stuff, and I was walking away, and at the last moment I stopped at the door, and I turned back, and she had made her way past the little checkout place so that she and I were now facing each other. She had wandered out to face me, and she was still just she's still just smiling at me so beautifully. I swear to God, I tell this story and every time it gets me because it was perfect. And she smiled at me and I smiled at her, and then I went and I sat in my car and I burst into tears again, and this time I was crying for a whole different reason, because I felt like these two people had reminded me in a very, whether you're religious or not, to me it felt like a very God wink moment of like, here are two angels on earth, and don't forget that we are all connected. Here was this teeny tiny tot person and this elderly man person, and they both gave me so much love in a moment when I was in so much pain. It was really beautiful. And so I decided, okay, I get your message, universe, God, whatever, whoever, I get it. What can I do? How do I take the pain that I'm feeling and turn it into something positive? And so I decided, well, I guess it's really about singular people, connecting with singular people. How do I do that? And I thought, well, I'll do a podcast. I had no business doing a podcast, know nothing about podcasting. I come from a music background, but I'm not the one at the controls or anything, but that didn't matter. I made a list of the kind of people I wanted to talk to, and that started the process of Hey Human Podcast. I just started recording. The early recordings are terrible sounding. The content's there, but they sound not so great. But I just learned as I went, and I committed to it, and it begat more and more people coming to me from various directions. And yeah, so that's how it was born. Sorry, it still gets me because it was such a pure moment. I've had a few of those kinds of things in my life that were profound. It's in the top profound moments in my life.
These people, right, like as you describe them, there is such diversity and outward presence. A young child who speaks Spanish. There is an old man who has darker skin than you.
Yeah, but in those moments that it was human to human, him calling me
Seeing
sister,
sameness.
it was sameness. It didn't, in the moment, all I saw was a kind man calling me sister. And in that particular word, that connector word of like, you are my family, I am your family, that's what struck me. And I don't know, there's something about I love old people. Are they not the best?
The
They
best.
just the best. And so but maybe he could have been anyone, but he also was it was such a moment of real. And this little child who maybe hadn't been spoiled by the world yet, or maybe, who knows, I don't know what was going on, in her life, but should that radiate of just pure happy and sweetness and smiling. Maybe I elicited something in her, but something made her walk back out. And that's why I say, like, in those moments are angels on earth, because And I'm not religious. I'm deeply spiritual. I'm deeply energetic, but I don't think it was about their differences. I think it was about their sameness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. And I hear, see me in the little girl, just this kind of relentlessness to say, I'm here,
Yeah. And
and
to
to say,
say,
I
you're
see
here
you.
too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, profound. Deeply profound. And something as silly as like, oh, you're having a yam for dinner? I love yams too. Even that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even that. And my mission for Hey Human has always been that I don't necessarily have to agree with the other person. I want to know why they think the way they do. And I've had pushback from some people saying, oh, how can you talk to that person? But uh, I think the truth of that is exposing warts and all, beauty and all, because I have warts and I have beauty, as does every single person on the planet. And I think every time somebody listens to the show and they hear, let's say they're listening to someone where like, I don't agree with anything this person is going to say, but there is a moment, let's say there's a sentence, there's a word that resonates. I think that enforces the idea that nobody's perfect and we can't pretend that everything that we don't like in the world lives in the shadows. It doesn't. It's every day. It's in our every waking moment, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the painful, the joyous. It's all everywhere all at once. But we're so
And
desensitized to everything. And you said, oh, here we look at the AI. We're so lonesome. And yet, instead of reaching out to our fellow human who can hurt us emotionally or physically, or judge us or call us out, we have these machines now talking to us as if they're our best friends. And I don't do it, but I've listened to other people talk to theirs. And I find it's really interesting because the AI tends to placate first. That's a
mhm.
really good question. And then goes on to say whatever. And we are so malnourished in love and attention and being seen that this weird wire monkey. Do you remember the test from the 70s of the baby monkey? They're deprived and then they're released into a pen that has a monkey mother that's just
Yes.
wire and like broomsticks, and
Yeah.
the baby monkey is so deprived it goes straight for it and cuddles to it even though it's a poor a poor substitute.
Representation.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're doing with the AI, isn't it? We're hugging the metal monkey and it's like, what the freak are we doing?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. We're offloading that connection.
Terrified
And
to be vulnerable.
yeah, we're terrified to be vulnerable. And part of that is to what you were saying before. We're terrified for other people to know that we have a shadow side or a dark side or flaws or faults or whatever you want to call them, because they're all kind of the same thing.
Or a
And
tender side for that matter.
yeah, which many people see as a fault.
Yeah.
Um, how has Hey Human, how many episodes have you created now? How
Heading
has,
toward 500.
oh my gosh, that's
Crazy.
bonkers. How has it shifted your perception of humans?
Listen, we are in tricky times. So I'm on the fence still with humanity. However, I absolutely love having conversations with people. I love going into the depth of who they are and why they are. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. I think it's made me a better human. It has made me a better listener, uh, a deeper listener. So, not just what the person is saying, but what they're not saying.
Mm,
And it's also made me understand myself more.
mm,
Again, I've always, ever since I was little, I have been in touch with my shadow side. I think I've grown to care for that side as much as the other side.
and together it's
It
true.
sounds very woo woo, but I don't know. How do you talking to that many people who are so different than myself and yet seeing how similar we are on at the same time, I don't know that you could help but grow from
Mm.
that
Mhm.
experience.
Mhm. Yeah, showing up for anything over and over and over again for a long period of time is gonna change us, and so we better be careful what we choose to show up for over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, eh, you are an artist through and through, Susan. If I were to take away one theme in my conversations with you so far, it really is a real integrity about who you are in the world.
I believe that I know who I am. Once you get to a place where you know who you are, the rest is noise. And so other people can't have you. They can't own your mind. They can't persuade your doubt. They can't sell you something. It's what was that poem?
Mm, yeah,
I am the captain of my soul.
there we
So
go.
it's that idea that the things like the social media, they want to convince me, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, they want to convince me that I'm not smart enough, pretty enough, have big enough boobs, shiny enough hair, that I'm on the right side of this or the wrong side of that. I know who I am. And I think once you get to that point, I don't work for any machine anymore, which is very disconcerting to the powers that be, the mechanisms in which we live our life. It can be kind of lonesome for certain. It can be, I mean, I joke, it's like, oh, I wish I knew how to be like that. But do I? I don't think I do. Because what would be the point? I don't know if any of that is making sense. Other than the other day I came home and it had been a particularly long day. And look, I love TikTok as much as anyone else. I've learned a lot on TikTok. It's also seemingly to be the one place to get actual news of the events going on in America, in the world, that is yet to be filtered, because nobody, I think it's coming. I think they'll start to filter it out, but it's not owned by a news conglomerate. So the message is human. It's people filming things going on and being there and being present. But I found myself sitting on the couch. My brain had been overactive that day, and I thought, I just want to check out for a few minutes. That was what I said to myself. So I sat down on the couch and I opened up TikTok. And when I tell you, 3 hours went by. 3 hours. And I kind of snapped out of it. It was as if I had been under hypnosis. Even,
Mhm.
and I was looking at all different things, funny things, plant things, cooking things. I'm obsessed watching people cook. Am I going to cook any of these things? No. Do I watch the whole thing? Yes. But at the end of it, I remember I was sitting there and I was sort of like, am I drooling? I felt like I had just, it's the modern day Quaalude. I feel like I had
Mhm.
sent myself into the straitjacket and the pill, and I'm now quietly sitting somewhere where I won't be a nuisance to anyone or anything. And I thought, my God, that is really what all that stuff is probably used for,
Yeah,
in a truly dystopian Orwellian sense.
it's a
They
sedative. Mhm.
it's a sedative.
Mhm, and a
Boy.
suppressant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I went, oh, shouldn't be doing that at all. So now I'm like very aware. As soon as I go to do it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to look at this, this, and this. I become very intentional about it. And then that's it. And so far, so good. But man, it's meant to just put us in a pen and feed us full. And then
Mhm.
they'll slaughter us and eat our flanks. That's my veal reference. Having never eaten veal, I assume it's the flank. I don't know. Anyway,
It doesn't
that's
matter.
gonna it doesn't matter. Like, I'm pontificating, but you get it. It's like, and again, there's this AI that's reading my mind and knows exactly what to do to put me in that seductive, sedative space.
So let's talk about fatalism. I've been thinking about the parallels between midlife and the state of the world recently. That I think somewhere in midlife, there is this tendency to sort of be like, oh, well, I'm over the hill and I'm 40 or 50. I got to just like bide my time to the freedom of 65. I'm just looking way out the road at this distant future, and I just have to tolerate everything for a couple of decades to get there. But I'm like, it's the most disengaging, uninspiring road for a few decades. And then how many people end up having a heart attack as soon as they retire and never get to enjoy it? But that's another story. Meanwhile, I think in parallel, there is this tension for so many of us right now where it's like, I see how the world could be better. I want to change it. And then there's a part of us that's like, oh, but it won't work. Oh, but it's all failing. Oh, why should you go and do big, brave things when the world may end? That tension, I know it's like a very weird parallel I just made. And yet I do think it's sort of an undercurrent right now for a lot of people, this kind of like futility. And that was what you were feeling on that day that you said, I'm done. And then it was this connection to others that made you say, oh no, I'm not done. I'm going to act. And so where you sit at this point in your life, having produced 500 episodes of your podcast, written a bunch of songs within the context of this wacky, weird world that we live in, what inspires you? What keeps you motivated and active and out of TikTok and your head?
I mean, ironically, humans, because, and also animals. Animals inspire me also. You said something about we're going to keep doing this thing and we can see the light at time. We'll work till we retire and then die. The three most dangerous words in the English language, I'm going to.
Snap, snap.
And the feeling of the futility that I had that then brought Hey Human into being is the same futility I think we're seeing out there in the world right now. Look at what's happening. People have got nothing left to lose because it is death. There are fates worse than death. And that's where we are. And if you look back historically, the most beautiful art comes from times of great stress and turmoil and terror and peril. And it does inspire me. I'm writing poetry all the time. I'm writing little stories all the time. I am finding way. I mean, in my building, for example, there's I think 70, and I'm on the security team. If something is amiss, because I live in a bit of a dangerous part of town, and if something's amiss, I'm one of the people that's called upon. I don't go alone. I go with someone else or a couple people because community is what happens in times of futility. Some of the most beautiful poetry, I've brought this up on my show before, in the concentration camps, which I know is an easy go-to in terms of great strife, but in the concentration camps, there was a group of children. They found poetry written by these children that were interned, and beautiful, beautiful works of art. And a man named Charles Davidson sent those to music and created an incredible piece called The Butterfly. In our terror, in our sadness, great things. It's the phoenix, right? It's the phoenix just over and over again. Humanity, I don't know if we do it to ourselves, like we need to find pain in order to rise above it. I don't understand it. I don't. I want us to be all like the bonobos where we solve our problems by, making out, but that's not the reality. And I see what we do to our children and I see what we do to our animals, and it absolutely breaks my heart. And the amount of justification that gets made for things like that. There's a depth of cruelty that exists within human nature. I don't know how to combat it or overcome it. And I get into moments of despair because of it. And I have to climb my way back out just like everybody else. And I do that with art until it stops feeling as bad. It's still horrible. Everything that's going on is horrible. But my God, there's also a lot of beauty. We're seeing it over and over again. People risking their very lives for strangers because some things are worth dying for.
Well, and I think that is the answer at the end of the day is if you're worried, if you're fretting, if If you're in despair, make something or do something.
Yes, yes. Get out of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we're selfish creatures. That's self-preservation. Narcissism comes easy to humans, but we all, I think I speak for many people that I know, myself, I don't know about you, but when we do go and do something for someone else, you feel better. You can't help but feel better
Yeah.
because you're not thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a distraction for a moment and it expands our perspective. It helps us zoom out a little bit. And I think it also gets us out of our tendency toward victim mindsets, where it feels like
Yeah.
everything is happening to us. And that feels paralyzing. And it feels like we have no autonomy and we are wired for autonomy. And so much of the division in our country is around feeling like we are hungry for freedom and autonomy. And so, like, the way we take it back is to act and ideally in service of something we believe in.
What can one person do? Said 300 million people.
Wow. Yeah. That's exactly. Well, there's a woman I quote, feel like daily in my life now. Her name is Helen Arteaga Landaverde. She was on this show in very early days and just the most amazing story. And everybody should go listen to it 50 times. She's such an incredible storyteller and leader and has had such amazing impact. And she was just nominated by Mamdani as his deputy mayor for Health and Human Services. And I'm just so excited for her to have such an active role in our city now. But the lesson her father taught her and that she carried into her incredible career is start in your own backyard. And so it's so wonderful to hear you say that, Susan, too, that because I think it's the answer for all of us, that when we feel overwhelmed, the answer is to start, and it's to start close to home, whether it's because we have a loved one with ALS and we want to fight ALS, or it's because ICE agents are seizing our neighbors. It's starting close to what we know physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, and stepping into somebody else's parade if we need to. You don't have to start the parade, but to just act. And I can think of no greater act of love and no greater way to create the future.
Love and defiance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I've loved talking to you, and I'm so, so glad that the brilliant Teresa Damasi introduced us. I love her.
I
Yay,
love her too. She's
Teresa. You're
fantastic. Yeah.
awesome. So as you know, Teresa nominated you sort of, and then I nominated you again. And I was like, please come talk to me. But every guest on the show nominates another guest. Who do you nominate, Susan?
Julia Christgau, who's a dear friend of mine, she lives in Los Angeles. She grew up in New York. She lived in Atlanta for a spell. She grew up in the theater scene. Her father is quite a well-known theater teacher and person who, I guess, an actor who does the acting things too. But she and I met, and I said this the other day, actually. I was speaking with her because we had been invited to a function, and the function was mostly women. And I said to her afterward, I said, I have my childhood was tricky. My mother was tricky. And so for me, connecting with women has been more difficult because in my experience they have betrayed me on a lot of levels in various times of my life. And I said to her, going to that party and seeing all these beautiful women who were so supportive and loving to each other was so wonderful. And I said to her, you also have done this to me. You are a reminder that there is such good, strong, supportive women who want really good things for each other. And I think we as women have been conditioned by the patriarchy, whether it's by men or other women, which both are capable of patriarchal decisions and all that. That it's just nice. It's nice to find women who are just badass. She's badass. She's brilliant. She's funny. She's driven. She's creative. She's deeply soulful. Her heart is big. She wants the best for people, and I like that in a human. And she loves dogs, which I also appreciate because I love dogs. She's just badass. So when I saw in the little intake sign up thing that you sent, she was the first person that came to mind. I know a lot of really wonderful people. I do. And LA is great for that. I have met incredible people here. I could probably give you a whole long list, but she was the first one that came to mind.
It's interesting listening to you describe her. I strongly suspect that somebody who admires you would describe you with the exact same list.
Well, maybe I would hope that she would also be inspired by me, but yeah. Yeah. It's just,
Um,
you meet people and you just fall in love. You're like, this is a great person that I just want to be around forever. And it's good because my inner child, the person who is used to being hurt, perhaps, is sort of looking over the couch going, is this person safe? Is this person safe? And little by little, you know, you learn that people are safe and they are okay.
a
Yeah.
wise friend of mine said to me earlier this week, she said, maturity and spirituality are learning to trust other people and to allow ourselves to be heard. That all of our core personality defects, as she describes them, are built to protect us from connection. And I
Yeah.
really sat with that and I was like, shit, Lisa's right again.
I agree with Lisa. I don't know Lisa. I agree with Lisa.
I think
Vulnerability
she's
is
like episode number
hard.
5. Yeah, being a human
Okay.
is hard.
I mean, it's so hard. It's
It's
so
so, as uplifters, we love to uplift other uplifters. How can we uplift you in your work?
check out my stuff. I've got music under Susan Ruth on Apple Music. The best way to support me is to look for independent artists all over the globe and support them. Go to live music, go to art shows, buy the smallest piece of art if you can't afford a big piece of art, but from up and coming artists. Go to the movies, get your butt in the movie theater, watch the movie. It takes such care and love to make a film, and there's a lot of people who are supported by making that film. Show them that love. Go to the movies. Don't just sit on your couch and look at your phone. Yeah, that's how you support me, is support art and makers and creatives,
And then
and
spread
be
the
a part of
word,
the world
right? Like,
and
I think
spread
that's
the
a big
word.
part of it is like
Yeah,
rating and
buy
reviewing.
records. Yeah,
We all like toss those words around, but it really
it
does
does help.
matter
It does.
to
Yeah, it
say,
does
like, I
help.
saw this movie and I liked it, to share it, to scream out
Yeah.
loud when we like these things. Yeah.
Don't be afraid of joy. There are plenty of people who are like, oh, why are you so happy? Or why are you so full of joy? Feel the thing. Be proud of a thing. Be in joy. Bring back joy. Let joy resound. My God, we need it more than ever. Do not be afraid of your own happiness. Don't let other people make you feel less than or small because you smile or you feel joy or you enjoy something or you want to eat something or you want to, let that be. And that too is a form of rebellion, is to be joyful. Be joyful. That's the gift you give to me out there in the world, because it changes everything. Yeah.
You're so awesome. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing your time and your energy and your point of view.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Such a
Yeah.
joy.
Thank you.
Such a joy.
Yeah. Thanks.
For those of you listening, thank you too for sharing your time and your energy. And please keep talking to us over on Substack, which I will say is the other platform where you can get real news and real human stories. And I really, really, really love it. And we're at the Uplifters podcast.com, which just directs right over to Substack. And we have an amazing community of folks there, lots of great neuroscience on midlife, how we change, how to use our brains to work for us instead of against us in this time, but also just how to do big, brave things like Susan.
Thanks. Thank you so much. And thanks for listening, everybody. Go be brave. Go be brave, even when it feels like you can't, because you can. I promise.
Thanks for watching the Uplifters podcast. If this inspired you, hit subscribe and tap the bell to stay uplifted. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs a little lift today. Big love.
Painted water sunshine with rosemary and thyme. Dwell in the perplexing, though you find it vexing. Toss a star and hover, be your own best lover. Relish in a new prime, plant a tree in springtime. Dance with idle hindsight, bring the sun to twilight.